Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that comes up daily in my conversations with people as a professional recruiter, and that's about starting your own business. As we've seen the world of work change a lot over the last 5-6 years, people are increasingly thinking about, can I start my own main business or my own side hustle, as I've called this video. So I want to talk to you today about how I built my own business from last year and all the different things and stages you can go through and consider before starting your own side hustle. We're going to talk about skills, we're going to talk about purpose, we're going to talk about network, and we're going to talk about planning. And if you like career development content, LinkedIn content, and CX, customer experience related content, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel as well. So let's start off by talking about skills. What are your skills? What do I mean by skills? Well, I'll look at myself to give you an example. In 2024, I took a look at the skills that I built up over my 20 years in recruitment, plus various hobbies and interests, and I made a conscious decision to deepen as many of those as possible. And half of that was looking towards maybe starting my own side hustle or business at some point in the future. So I focused on courses that I could find, activities that I could take part in, and really putting more of my time into deepening my skills. And that's a whole range of things. So it can be work related, it can be to do with the systems and the processes that underpin the job that you do, but it can also be things outside of work. It might be sports, it might be hobbies, it might be interests. Don't forget, they can be hard technical skills as well as soft skills as well. And you don't want to focus just on the things that you're already very, very good at, which is what a lot of people do. You want to focus on the things that you maybe have an interest in or have touched upon, but are by no means proficient. Go out, find courses that will support that, invest a bit of your own money and time into it, and develop those skills. It needn't take very long. I'll give you an example. One of the things I did was I built my own knife from scratch. I spent a weekend at a forge working with other people, being taught by professionals, and from a piece of basic steel and some blocks of wood over 2 days, I managed to make, and some leather, because I actually made a thing to put it in as well, I built a knife. And you might think, well, could you go out and do that now professionally? No, but it did teach me a number of skills about working with tools and working in that sort of environment that gives you a perspective on using skills in different environments. I also, from a sports point of view, started to take part in Spartan events. And again, you're talking about running, you're talking about endurance, you're talking about looking at yourself, you're talking about obstacles. So developing a range of skills that actually change the way you look at how you use other skills in different environments. I also took a number of LinkedIn courses to do with AI or to do with HR and diversity and inclusion, things that professionally interested me and that I knew I wasn't strong enough in. So I spent the hours and hours that it takes to complete some of these courses to strengthen my skills in those areas. By the end of 2024, I felt much more rounded as a person because I'd done all those different things. And now that's kind of a pattern going forward for me, really, is a skills-based approach to work. And that is what has underpinned my ability to start my own business. Because rather than thinking about job boxes and do you fit a certain box and can you do this job or can you do that job, yes or no, I'm more thinking about what do my skills as a whole, if you looked at them on a spreadsheet as a matrix, what do they allow me to do professionally? Because actually, going back to the first point, what are skills? Skills are value. Skills, experience in some cases, is what you bring to the table for your customers, your contacts, your clients, your network, and that's how you deliver value, because you will have experiences and skills that they don't have. And sometimes it's about matrixing them. So it's someone that's got experience in A, D, F, and K. When put together, that enables you to complete a project for somebody. So the broader, but also the deeper your skills, the more ability you have to start that business or side hustle that you want to. So when it comes to skills, my tip would be proactive. Go out there, look for courses online and in person. They might take investment, you might need to pay for them. Some of them might be free, like the LinkedIn Learning courses, but get out there and invest time in them. Book it into your calendar. Tell people that you're going to do it. That old rule always remains true, that if you publicly say, I'm going to do this in this year or this month, you're more likely to do it because of the accountability of that. Do that. Say to people, I really want to work on this part of my professional skill set, or I want to work on getting better at that sport that I do, or I'm going to go out and learn something completely new in the next few months. I'm going to go and do it at weekends or in evenings or whatever it is, colleges and universities and schools and clubs and all sorts of things. Look at them all as part of broadening your personal skill set and therefore giving you more opportunities to add value through your business or your side hustle. Okay, I want to talk to you about purpose in your career. What is purpose? Well, for a lot of people, I think it might be the exact opposite to how they're currently working. If you're just doing a job because it pays the bills and you're having that classic Sunday evening fear of Monday morning, or you can't wait for Friday afternoon to come, the chances are your purpose and your career don't line up. By purpose, I mean job satisfaction. And I'm a huge advocate for people creating their own purpose-led careers. So when we're thinking about it in the context of starting your own business or your side hustle, it therefore makes sense that what you're choosing to do is using some of those skills that we talked about before, but in something that gives you satisfaction, that aligns with your purpose. Using myself as an example, I created Ellison Coast, my own business, in 2024 to tackle a variety of things that use a matrix of my skills but that align with what gives me satisfaction and purpose. So then when I sit down at my desk here in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, I'm looking forward to what I'm doing. It allows me to do more of what I enjoy rather than things that fit the boxes that need doing for another company, an employer, an organization that you are part of their process, their machine. You can create your own. So when you're setting up your own business, your own side hustle, start by thinking about, what do I enjoy doing? What is my purpose professionally? Because you'll be better at the thing you're doing if you enjoy it. Use the example that sometimes gets used with children learning in school. You will learn better if you're more engaged. And that, in that scenario, it might be down to the teacher. There's no teacher as such in our careers. It's just down to the work we're doing. If we like what we're doing, we're going to do a better job at it. So it makes sense that your side hustle and your own business should line up with that. So spend some time thinking about that. What are you interested in? What are you keen on doing? What do you really enjoy getting stuck into and focusing on? Where do you enjoy sweating the detail? Because again, that lines up with doing a good job. Thinking back to your skills then, it might be that you've got some weak areas that you need to gen up on before you can actually go and do that as a career, as a purpose-led career. Well, that then feeds back into what we talked about in the other video about learning new skills and making this a year of developing your skills so that you can support that purpose-led career, which means that your side hustle, your own business, is far more likely to be successful. Okay, what does your network look like? Now, to some people, networking, it's a bit of a crappy business term. It sounds like jargon. It sounds like just building up loads of followers online, maybe, or going out to really stilted, artificial feeling meetings or events. That's not it. A network should be a group of people, most likely based online initially, that you share professional interests with. And what does your network operate as if you're setting up your own side hustle, your own business? It operates as your support team. When you're working in an organization and you've got other employees around you and they've been allocated tasks, that structure supports you in being successful in your own job. If you're out there on your own, you don't have that unless you're going to pay for professional advice. And in some cases, that is the way to go. But in a lot of cases, you just need the goodwill of other people. And if you're sharing interests and you're adding value to a network and a community, they'll do that back to you. And that helps your business to be successful. It might just be a sounding board. It might just be someone to cry on the shoulder of if you've had a bad day, or to celebrate a success with when you've had a good day as well. Someone to share advice, someone to ask, hey, what CRM should I use? Hey, what video processing tool should I use? What piece of equipment should I buy? Should I work from home? Should I do this myself or should I outsource that? You can share all these questions and people will come back to you. Even if you still steer the course you were going to anyway, at least you've checked with other people. And it's not about people controlling your business, your side hustle. It's not about having people dictating to you. It's about having people offering advice and guidance. So having a network is really important in my experience. I mean, again, 2024, I set up Ellison Coast and I couldn't really believe the support that I got from people that I've been working with over the previous 20 years. My expectations were absolutely blown out the water by people coming to me and saying, this is great, it's been a long time coming, you're going to be really successful, let's work together on something down the road. And then, there's a time and a place for all those different things, and it really does help to make you successful, and that I'm speaking first-hand experience there. So when you're thinking about, okay, this year I want to start my own side hustle, my own business, but at the moment I have no network. I'm not on LinkedIn. Well, first of all, get on LinkedIn, and I've got other videos, and I'll put one in the comments below about how to get started on that. And also like this video and subscribe to my channel, because there's loads of LinkedIn hints and tips here and careers advice anyway. But start building that network. Also, look on Facebook, look on X, maybe, if you can tolerate its owner, and look on Instagram, and look for other groups of people that share your passions, what it is you want to be doing, your purpose, your skills, and join those groups and start talking to people, start actually engaging. Don't just be a sort of a lurker and looking, but actually ask questions and look to follow people that have maybe been on a similar journey. Medium is also a blog platform that's really good for this as well. There's lots of self-employed and startup and side hustle type writers on there that are documenting their own journeys and talking about things that they've come across and mistakes they've made and stuff. So you can learn a lot just by reading from there, but you can also communicate with people on Medium as well. So there's all these social media platforms, and then the in-person events as well. So there are networking events held all over the country by entrepreneurs that get small business owners together to talk about the challenges they've had. They often get speakers in, maybe presenting on a product or a service or something, perhaps have a breakfast or lunch or a drink or something. But again, it's a good space to meet people that are perhaps ahead of you in the journey and that want to share advice. That's why they're there, right? They don't turn up because they don't want to talk to people. So put yourself out there a little bit. If you are going to start your own business or your own side hustle, you're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to communicate and get out there a little bit. If that's something you're really uncomfortable with, you need to look at that from a skills perspective and start to develop that, because you are your own advertising, you are your own marketing, and really just talking to people is perhaps all you need to do. If you're skilled in something and you're passionate about it, so it's purpose-led, you'll do a great job about talking to people about what it is you want to do. People will buy that and they will buy from you. The old cliche, people buy people. And that, again, is all why a network is so important. I think if you just try and set something up and then just go out there on your own without having talked to anybody about it, without having any kind of support around you, it's going to be a much harder road, and it's going to be a very lonely journey. And when the hard times come, yes, you've got family and friends around you, but if they don't work in your industry, if they do, great, they're part of your network. But if they're not, if they're not in the same world as you professionally, do they really understand? Can they really relate and offer advice? And when you've got the good times as well, who do you celebrate with? Yeah, who really understands how hard it's been to go on that journey and climb that mountain? So your network is a crucial part of being successful in setting up your own business or your side hustle this year. Planning. Fail to plan, plan to fail, as the cliche goes. If you're going to set up your own side hustle, your own business this year, you need to plan. This doesn't, in my personal experience, need to take weeks and months. It can be an organic process that evolves over that period of time as you're moving towards setting that thing up. But you do need to document the things that you need to do and that you need to get right from day one, from week one, from month one, and beyond. So I want to talk about kind of my experience of planning to set up my own business, Ellison Coast, as I did in 2024, and how that evolved and resolved itself and still is today. So initially, it was about understanding why I thought setting something up was the right thing to do and the problems that I was trying to resolve. Not just for myself in terms of my career and the purpose that I had and the skills I wanted to use, but for my customers. Changes that I had seen in the marketplace that I support that I thought a different approach was needed to deliver to. So really trying to understand those in clear terms. That then forms the skeleton of why you're creating this business, whether it be a side hustle or a full-time business for you. And it might go from one to the other, right? Side hustle into full-time role. But understanding the core challenges that you're looking to address and taking time to nail those down. If you can't articulate them clearly, how are you going to articulate them to the people that will help you and support you and to your customers as well? It needs to be something that you can summarize, in like a minute. If you can get it down like that, then you have the core of the skeleton, as I said, of why you're going to build this entity, this business. Then what you need to do is think about your workflows, your processes. Okay, so I know what I want to solve. How am I going to do it? Is it the same as something that already exists? And there's nothing wrong with that. There are literally thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of companies that all do the same things, but it's you that's doing it, and that's what makes it different. Or do you have a totally different way of doing it? Or is it just different because it's you on your own and you can therefore adapt and be flexible? Or is it something that's been brought to you? Has a customer or a contact said, oh, well, I wish there was a way of resolving this problem, and you've really learned from that and bolted it on to what you're building. But you need to understand what those workflows and those processes look like, because you're going to need some systematic support. Whether that is IT systems, supply chains, whatever it might be, there's going to be systems that will underpin your ability to deliver to solve those problems. This is the sort of stuff you need in place really before you begin, because when you go out speaking to customers and trying to acquire things to deliver these services, whether that be systems, whether that be product, whether that be partners, these are the questions you're going to be asked from stage one. There's also operational planning you need to do. So if you're setting up a side hustle, how are you going to be paid for this? How are you going to invoice? What's the tax implications and what deductibles you're going to have to pay? Does it make financial sense for you to do it one way or another? If you're starting your own business, here in the UK, there are various ways to do that. Self-employed, be it limited company, and around the world, again, there's all different machines and vehicles you can have your own business via. So how are you going to structure that? That's where I would say take professional financial advice to make sure you're not getting yourself in trouble and that you're paying your way the way that you should do. If you are currently employed and you intend to remain employed and that this is going to be a side hustle, is it in your employment contract that you have to declare if you have some sort of income stream? It might well be, especially if it's something that maybe competes or even potentially complements what it is you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So I've seen examples of people working in recruitment businesses, and they've come up with the idea of a CV writing service, and they've gone out there and contacted people about a CV writing service, but they've done that kind of through the recruitment business. So you might argue it's a complementary service, but the recruitment business didn't want them to do that, and they fell foul of that, and ultimately were released because of that action. So check your contract and do think about professionally where it leaves you against that business. And one thing to do with planning then, think about, if I'm starting as a side hustle, at what point could this become a full-time role? What does it need to replace for me? So if my company found out about it, if I didn't need to declare it, or if I told them about it and they said, okay, well, that doesn't suit us, so we think, it might be time for you to go. Can you cover your responsibilities financially with this side hustle business? If not, it's something to think about and be aware of. So operationally, you need to do your planning as well. All of these things are kind of day one, week one planning. Then you need a business plan that goes on from there. Now, personally speaking, I don't think you need a multi-page document that says, okay, I'm going to do this month one, this month two, this month three, because when you're working on your own, if you've done this for the first time, you're going to come across a lot of unknowns. There's going to be a lot of things that you didn't anticipate, both challenges and opportunities. If you've built a business plan, as the cliche goes, no plan survives contact with the enemy. That plan might be irrelevant 2 or 3 months in. So is it a waste of time up front? Potentially. Is it going to then be demotivating if you're 2 or 3 months in and things have just changed, and maybe you're still doing well, but you don't need it anymore? Maybe if you're not doing well, but you're looking at that business plan, you're falling further and further behind. I don't really think it's worth doing. What I think is worth doing is looking at the key things that make you money and focusing your activities against those. So, you need something, I believe, that's visual and accountable, whether that's post-it notes, whether that's printouts, whether that's a screensaver with it on, whether it's a whiteboard, whatever it is in your work environment. Presumably that's going to be at home or somewhere like that. You need something that's visual and reminds you, these are the activities that make me money, these are the things I need to be doing, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And you do need some financial targets as well, because presumably you're setting up this business or this side hustle because you want it to work as a full-time occupation for you, which means covering your responsibilities. So I don't think you need to spend days and weeks on a fully granular detailed business plan, but I do think you need to think about the metrics that matter to you, the activities that matter to you, and the financial targets that matter to you. And I think those must be visual, so that you're seeing them every day. You're sitting down or wherever you're going. You might be a personal trainer and out there at the gym. Well, then they've got to be in a notepad, or they've got to be somewhere where you can see them every day, so you're constantly refocusing and making sure you're spending time on that. Or if you're not, and activities do draw you away, perhaps operational things, you need to do some invoicing, or you need to do some logo design or something like that. It's great, you understand you're doing those things, but they're outside of the activities that earn you money, so you'll return back to them as quickly as you can, and you're spending the proportionate amount of time you should be on those activities. So when it comes to planning, I think there's day one, week one targets, there's months one and beyond targets. I think you need to understand certain things from the get-go, but then there's other stuff that you don't necessarily need to have absolutely nailed down from the start. The big thing I would say is have the confidence. If you've looked at the skills we talked about in a previous video, and you're confident your skills matrix supports the work you want to be doing, and that leads to purpose, we talked about in another video, and you've got a network there of people that have tried similar things, or are local and are doing small business stuff, or are just supportive of you and you've known them for a while, customers and candidates and things like that, and maybe you've spoken to some of them and they're all like, yeah, go for it, then go for it. You'll never, I guess, much like perhaps being a parent or maybe leaving home or any of these things, you're never going to feel 100% ready. I don't believe. My personal journey with Ellison Coast, it accelerated extraordinarily fast because of organic conversations that were just happening with companies and people that I knew, and people saying, you know what, if you did something like this, that would be really helpful to us. And then me talking to the people that matter to me in my life, my family, and saying, is it okay if I do this? Because it could fail, right? If you're going to set up your own side hustle, your own business, it could fail. If it's a side hustle and you're fully employed, maybe that doesn't matter so much. It might matter to you personally. But if it's a full-on business and that's what's going to pay your responsibilities and bills, it matters, and it could fail. But I've been a recruiter for 20 years, and I'll say one thing, right? You can set up your own business and it might not work forever, but it doesn't mean you can't go back and get a job. No career status is forever, which is partly why the planning of things needs to be to a stage where it gets you up and running and it gets you hitting those targets financially and personally, but it doesn't have to go on and on forever. Leave that to the end of year 1, year 2, year 3. What does success look like to you? Do you want this business to buy you a house? Do you want it to pay for your holidays? Do you want it to pay for your children's school fees? Do you want it to pay for your hobby? Do you want it just to be something that you enjoy in the extra time that you have? Do you want it to be something that develops you professionally or personally as a person? What does success look like to you? If it meets that goal, it's a success, but it doesn't have to last forever. Personally, I'm a huge advocate, as you can probably tell, of starting your own side hustle, your own business, and I'm speaking from personal experience with that. But if you want to get more content on how to do that, career development, LinkedIn as well, which is an important part of this, as well as customer experience and CX content, then please do like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for listening.